Recording in progress.
Jane, you have a mic on?
All right. Good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and open up, call to order our regular session meeting. It is 6 o'clock on the 7th of October, 2024. We're going to start off
with the flag salute. I will lead us in that.
To the flag, the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you everybody for that. We acknowledge the original inhabitants of this area, the Snohomish people, and their successors, the Tulalip tribes. Since time immemorial, they have hunted, fished, gathered, and taken care of these lands. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and water. We will strive to be honest about our past mistakes and bring about a future that includes their people, their stories, and voices to form a more just and equitable society. All right, do I have a motion for the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
I do want to excuse Director Harris tonight. He got word today that his father-in-law passed, so he's with his family tonight. And he did share with me to share with everybody here, just to remind everyone to go up to somebody that you love and tell them that you love them, because you never know when that last time is going to be. So, all righty, we're going to get into the superintendent's report.
Yeah, I hate to follow that. I told everyone I was a really emotional person, and that really touched me. I want to share that I've just had an incredible day and a half on the job. I've met some wonderful people, and not just that are employed in the district, but in our community. I had my first gift given to me today from a citizen, and I'm excited about the work that we're going to do together. And it's an incredible opportunity for us to do all the things that we hope for our children and for our schools. And I'm just thrilled with the opportunity to partner with you. So to give you some idea what I've been doing in my spare time, I've met with all the administrators here on Friday, and obviously some dedicated folks that are just doing yeoman-like work out there. This week, I will meet in every secondary school. I'm scheduled to be in one school in the morning and then another school in the afternoon. And then the following week, I'll do all of our elementary schools. And obviously, our teachers need to see me. Our classified staff need to see me. And they need to hear what I'm about, what my values are. And I'm absolutely excited because in this business, that's where the miracles occur. There's never been a miracle in the superintendent's office, but there are miracles every day in our classroom, and I'm just thrilled to be able to go and celebrate that moment with the teachers and tell them that, how much I support them. So that's what my week looks like and next week looks like. That's going to be the highlight of my time, in the next 2 weeks. So that's my report.
Thank you very much, Dr. Burgess. We're going to move on to communications and reports, starting off with staff, student, and community recognition. Amy, if you could join us up here. She's going to read the proclamation for Disability Employment Awareness Month.
Working. Okay. I wanted to send my love and prayers to Craig. Through this hard time, I myself personally have lost 2 loved ones in one day last week, so it's a very, so National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Whereas workplaces welcoming the talents of all people, including people with disabilities, are a critical part of our effort to build an inclusive community and strong economy. And whereas in this spirit, the Marysville School District number 25 is recognizing National Disability Employment Awareness Month this October to raise awareness about disability employment issues and celebrate the many and varied contributions of people with disabilities. And whereas activities during this month will reinforce the value and talent people with disabilities add to our workplace and communities and affirm Marysville School District's commitment to an inclusive community. And now, therefore, the Marysville School District Board of Directors do hereby proclaim October 2024 as National Disability Employment Awareness Month. In so doing, we call upon employers, our schools, and other community organizations in Washington to observe this month with appropriate programs and activities and to advance its important message that people with disabilities are equal to the task throughout the year. Presented and signed on the 7th day of October 2024 at the regular session meeting of the Board of Directors.
Thank you very much, Amy. Someone else was supposed to read that, and that person's not here tonight. And 1 minute before regular session, I asked Amy if she could read it, and without hesitation, she agreed. So really appreciate you, Amy. All right, we're going to move on to staff, student, and board reports. First in this list is department update presented by the district leadership team.
Good evening, directors of the board, Dr. Burgess, members of the community. My name is Brandon Bowman. I'm the Executive Director of Finance and Operations. I'd like to update you on some of the activities that we've been doing in those departments. We've been working hard to forecast our enrollment, work on reducing our overload costs, and striving to get to our K-3 compliance numbers, and working on getting adequate staffing for the district. Those are the 4 areas I'm going to update you on. For enrollment, October counts came in about 8,996 FTE. That's about 13.2 FTE under the projection of 9,009. After overlaying the monthly trends for the past 6 years, my current estimate is that our yearly average is going to be 8,875, which is 134.5 kids under projection. This represents a revenue shortfall of approximately 1.5 million. A note on that is we will not be filling approximately 3.5 FTE of certified staff in the budget, which is worth about 525,000. We're working with executive directors Knudsen and Walker to reduce overload costs in both the elementary and secondary schools. FLC requirements are that we're not to exceed the overload expenditures from 2023 and 24 school year. Those were about $961,000. Our 2024-25 year to date is approximately $271,000, or 28%, rather than the 20% that we were looking for. That's about $79,000 over our average for the year. We're still compiling our October overload costs to estimate total risk for the year. For K-3 compliance, we've been working really hard to adjust class sizes and provide adequate resources to the K-3 population. The requirement to be compliant is to have an average class size 17.0 FTE. Currently, we're at 2,824.9 FTE with a class size ratio of 17.66. We are very close to 17. However, we are looking at realizing a penalty of the unfortunate revenues of about $862,000 for the year. In order to avoid further disruption in the classrooms, my recommendation is to continue with the current plan and absorb this penalty. One notice, we did not plan to make the K-3 this year. We actually had an expected ratio of 17 FTE. So we had in the budget a penalty of about 1 million. So the penalty that we will be facing is less than what we budgeted. Just some other notes of enrollment were to drop in K-3 to 2719 throughout the year, which is possible. We would make that K-3 ratio. It's about 3.7%. Last year, it dropped about 112. On staffing, for the FOC request, we provided 52 hiring request exemptions. 41 of those requests are identified in our current staffing plan, which was the first criteria for the FOC review to allow those jobs to be posted. Due to the updated enrollment projections and other imposed costs, we require reaffirming each of those requests. We'll be doing that as a leadership team going forward. And that is my report on finance and operations.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to repeat those again? Like catch them? Just go over what you expected them to be earlier.
Yes, we expected our overload costs to be at just under $1 million, so 961,000. Our current year to date is 271,000.
Was that 961?
961,000 for the year. That's year to date, September and October. And so if you were to average that out over the 10 months, it's about 79,000 over plan. It does typically go down in the outer months as we adjust classes. But I think we're pretty much done with those adjustments.
And there is a natural attrition at the secondary level that may positively impact also.
Anything else?
Any expansion on that? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, President Krebs, Vice President Michael, Superintendent Burgess, and community members. Following specific guidance from the FOC last week, the Human Resources team has been fully engaged in work relating to the FOC hiring exception request process and working to prioritize special education paraprofessional staffing in particular. This is in addition to other critical staffing needs for general education paraprofessionals, food services staff, bus drivers, office registrars, and other critical vacancies. Our HR team also worked to prepare the S275 for submission, worked with building principals to finalize staffing sheets, which are used to track FTE and are helpful for verifying budget allocations throughout the year. Our team also reviewed and assisted numerous employees with leaves and accommodations, tracked and worked with USI to provide proper insurance documentation to allow special events to occur, such as this past weekend's Twilight cross-country meet. I could hear it from my house. I was like, what is that sound of all these people cheering for hours on end? Oh yeah, that's the cross-country meet. A special thanks to Sue Shea, who recently returned to our department and with her contacts from prior risk management work has been able to step back into the role seamlessly and reconnect with those contacts. On the front burner is work to draft and update numerous personnel policies and procedures and then communicate these to all of our staff. In reviewing the 5,000 personnel series of policies and procedures, I've come across a number needing attention and revision. I would also like to take a moment to publicly say a huge thank you to each of our amazing HR team, Chris, Connie, James, Lupe, Randy, Sue, and Zach. They are amazing at their positions and even more amazing as human beings. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Board of Directors, Superintendent Burgess, and community members. With this month being School Principal Appreciation Month, I want to acknowledge the incredible work of our elementary school principals. Their leadership, dedication, and tireless efforts in creating safe, nurturing, and inspiring learning environments do not go unnoticed. From guiding their staff to supporting students and families, their impact is profound and far-reaching. I sincerely appreciate their commitment to our schools and thank them for their vital role in shaping our community's future. Here are just a few examples of their hard work recognized by OSPI in the last couple of years. Cascade Elementary has been recognized for closing academic gaps for multilingual students and their students identified as Black African American. Sunnyside and Pinewood are recognized for academic growth in the top 10% in ELA and math for special education students and students identifying as multiracial. Pinewood is also recognized for their academic growth for the 22-23 school year. Cascade Elementary, Sunnyside, and Pinewood Elementary will be receiving achievement banners to display within their schools.
Thank you very much.
We kind of did this in order. So also I wanted to make a shout out to our secondary principals, kind of following up with Executive Director Knudsen. And I think one of the most exciting things that happened for our secondary this year is that at each grade level and content area, we showed improvement in our state assessments. And that just means that through all of the different things that are going on, they're staying laser focused on achievement and the success of students. So we're really excited about that. In addition, I wanted to also talk about our teaching and learning team. So our team, led by Executive Director Knudsen, myself, and Executive Director Hill, we operate student services, obviously elementary and secondary education, counseling with Sandra Madrigal, our categoricals with Brandon Moeller, and also Mia Berry in special education. So you think of all these people and all these things that we ask our principals to do, it's a wonderful time for us to get together and see how we can align and make things easier on those buildings. So really trying to keep a handle on initiatives, see where we can do two things with one initiative, training, keeping our buildings really up to date on being as successful as they were last year. So we really enjoyed that time and we're excited to have those meetings occurring regularly. And she's even written right here, and my curriculum, thank you, curriculum and instruction was Van Zen. I didn't look down when I was talking and I should have, because I listed everybody. Sorry about that. And then I think the highlight for my week last week was I got to go do lunch supervision at one of our middle schools last week. And that was exciting, and it had been a while, but boy, I tell you, you get in there and it just comes all right back to you about, oh, sit down, just all the fun stuff being in there, and the kids were smiling and happy and, excited to get outside and play basketball with, that they were allowed to get out. So all the normal middle school stuff, things are flowing. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I did some lunch duty a while back at Pinewood, and one of the students asked me, that I guess I was announced as the boss of the district, even though I don't see myself like that, but asked if we could bring strawberry milk back. Anyways, thought I'd put that on there.
You have to order John.
All righty. Thank you all very much. We're going to move on to informational situation report for Tulalip Bay Fire Cadet Academy and Tulalip Bay Fire Cadet Academy presentation. And that is going to be presented by Ryan Beebe, Director of Career Outreach, and Chief Shaughnessy.
Good afternoon, Board and Dr. Burgess. Thank you for having us this evening. Thank you for having us this evening. We have an exciting opportunity to partner with the Tulare Bay Fire Department to offer some CTE programming to our students. Chief Shaughnessy here and Chief Woodman, Bobby, and they both have personal experience with a similar program in another district, and I'll let them talk here a little bit about it. But we just have an opportunity to do this partnership where students can get a math or a science, a PE, and a CT credit by going through a program with their department. And I'll let them say a little bit about it and just appreciate us letting you know about it.
Thank you. All right. So, like I said, my name is Ryan Shaughnessy. I'm the fire chief for Tulare Bay. I approached the board of directors for the tribes about a year ago for funding for our cadet program. And we did a trial run for the second semester last year through Heritage High. And we had a lot of success with the program. And talking to the staff at Heritage High, they said, hey, let's expand this to the rest of the district and give more kids opportunity. So that's exactly why we're here, and that's exactly what we wanted to do. And part of us putting on this cadet program is Chief Wadwood, who brought him in from Commando Fire. We worked together for almost 20 years on Commando Island, and he helped facilitate the cadet program for the Stanley School District. And, years of success behind that, and he's built that program and grown that program. So we brought him in specifically to build this program here in Battalion Chief. So we're really looking forward to it. Hoping for your support with this program. And I just appreciate your time. And we have a full presentation on it. And then also Chief Watt, if you'd like to say a couple things. Information about it. I'm just the fire chief. I just signed Jackson. So Chief Watt.
Okay, so thank you for your time and here in Sal. I think these programs can do, and very, very excited about it. We take the average high school kid who just is kind of interested in checking things out, and then they turn into firefighters and people who, not just firefighters, we have a lot of them that came from there, but also public servants and people who want to invest in communities and help out their neighbors and all that kind of stuff. So huge successful program. I'm so thankful to be a part of it. I also went through that program myself. Back at Stanford High School in its, I think it's second year ever being there, and then kind of died off. I had the opportunity to bring it back and kind of restore it, bring it to a new level, and that's what we're doing now. So very excited to be a part of it, and I think it'll be amazing working with the Miracle School District and seeing the kids from Heritage High, Getchell, and Pilchuck all getting this awesome opportunity. So hopefully everything works out, and we'll see you guys in a year and give you an update. Appreciate it.
Keep it on this slide. There's more details in the other slides if you want to dig more into it. We want to get started as soon as possible. So as soon as we have all the steps approved from the CPE framework and there's all the logistics that can be in place, we will initiate the program. We've already identified almost 60 students through their high school and beyond plan have chosen fire as their occupation that they want to go into. So we already know who's kind of already out there. Those are juniors and seniors, and this program would be for juniors and seniors. We're looking at a site right now, and so we're just trying to see where that site could be. They want to have an instructional engine on site that students can work on. And so there's all these moving pieces with transportation. And if we can start it this year, that would mean that students would have to be able to adjust their schedules in order to have some movement. So the plan is to try to get off the ground soon, and how those students that because it's getting late in the year, how to get them into the program without ending everything else that's in the schedule. So we invite questions, and we're trying to figure out all the things we don't know or haven't thought about.
Is this something that will have to come to the board for approval once all the things are buttoned up?
I don't think we have an interlocal agreement that would be signed by the superintendent. I'm not sure if that's over the board or not. that's the one piece, that potentially could come to the board. I'm not sure if there's anything else.
Just curious more than anything. I think I would sign it today. I gotta say, firefighters are good at a lot of things. One thing that they're really good at is recruiting. I've got almost every firefighter I run into hands me paperwork for a ride along, and they ask if I want to join their local fire station. So keep it up. I mean, it's a.
I'll just answer your question about when it'll come to the board. So right now they're running a pilot. And so that they're going to kind of see where the interest is at, get it all set up. Once we officially adopt this as a course, like in our course catalog, it will go through that adoption process that we do mid-year. And then all of those courses come to you for approval that way also, along with the agreements that we'll need to go with.
Great. Thank you very much.
Once we get this in our course catalog, is there a possibility for us to explore dual crediting? There obviously there's fire academies out there, and I'm just wondering if that has been explored and if it's a possibility.
Yeah, it's a great question. Through STAMWOOD, we work with the Everett Community College and have an articulation agreement with them so that they would get college credits, as well as they have an opportunity to test for firefighter 1, hazmat ops, and I believe firefighter 2 if they want, but that's just additional testing. So they can walk out of there with multiple certificates, state recognized certificates, as well as college credits. That's already, the legwork has already been done. It would just have to be updated with the new school, but very similar framework, very similar.
So this says up to 15 students, and I was curious, is that Toilet Bay Fire's gonna pay for the pilot this year, right? That's what I'm seeing.
Yes, correct.
And then we would have to find a way to sustain it.
Yeah, so
Through our,
I did talk to the board of directors and the CEO, and they committed to funding it fully this year. We could fund all 20 students, so it'd be 15 between Marysville, Philchurch, and Getchell, and another 5 from Heritage. So 20 students total. But yes, it was funded for this school year. So I'm not here asking for money.
And it would be modeled after Stanwood's. And so if we have, say, 20 students, CTE students in that program, those 20 students would generate the funding to contract with them in the future for supplies and the training, the trainer. So.
and then I guess another question that I had was when the course credits, I'm just curious about the CTE catalog and the credits that they could get alongside PE, CTE. How does that, is this based off of participating for 1 year or 2 years?
So it'd be 3 credits per year. And there's a state framework that is already built that if we use that framework, the students are automatically guaranteed the PE, the science, and the CTE. And so it'd be for a year-long program.
Nice. And then I saw that there's some requirements like, insurance stuff that we have to carry. So just hoping that all that stuff's already been looked at with our current insurance policy in place.
Yeah, we're in review right now of all those pieces. And so we'd have to have all those in place before we would.
And I also am curious about expanding into like emergency management, like type of framework too from this, because my wheels started turning when I started looking at this. There's just a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, so part of what we've talked about is the 2-year program, and the second year of this program, the students become kind of a leadership role for the junior second year program. But what we talked about is expanding the program with police and maybe a second year, something with the police department, emergency management, EMT school. So we've got some options that we want to look at as soon as we're established and ready to go and to expand. But absolutely, emergency management is something that we definitely have. And I do just want to point out to the generosity of the Toledo tribes on this. When I went to them for the initial funding, there was no question on when they wanted to come. They were all in the beginning, and they're all in again this year. And we bought a fire engine and FDBAs and hundreds of thousands of equipment to get this program off the ground. So again, I just want to point that out. The tribes have been extremely generous and supportive. Yeah, I'll speak a little bit more about the credit. It'd be a 3-hour class, like 8 to 11. So it'd be like taking 3 periods of the class in the school day.
I did that with the schoolhouse cafe when I was in high school.
Anything else from the board?
So I just would just add a thank you. So to the tribes for their generosity and for working with great new opportunities for our kids. I think it's going to open doors for a lot of more students that they might not otherwise have. And then Ryan, I think you touched on this a little bit. I talk a little bit more about sustainability for next year and the year after. I think what I heard you say was state apportionment essentially would cover most of it.
Yeah, if we had around 20 students in the program, I think that would be stellar, and that would provide us to have an agreement with the fire department, just like Camino and Scan would. We'd model it just like theirs.
Let's quick one last thing. The program, as a fire chief, really means something to me. My daughter is a graduate of the Talent Center program. Yeah, who's also a graduate of the Talent Center program, and they're both currently working in the fire service. So the program works, it's successful, and we bring youth into the fire service, and we get them full-time jobs. And so it's a great career, the work career. We both love it, and it's fun to see kids come through that program, and then they have a city career with the sheriff. So it just means something. So thank you for your time.
I have one more comment. I just want to say also thank you to Toledo Tribes. Toledo does care about creating a safe community, and I feel like we as Toledo show that all the time, and this is another fine example, extending it to our other high schools, and that's beyond the current MOU that we have with the tribes. But I think that there's great potential for this program, and I think that Director Harris was telling me that his children are fire produced. Is that true?
I think that's true.
Yeah, so I know that he would be supporting this 100% too. So just thank you so much for taking the time to bring this good opportunity to Marysville. I think that providing these opportunities outside of for students that we know want to go prep into the workforce is so important, and also to keep our community safe. So thank you so much.
Thank you all very much. Our next up, upcoming events presented by Jody Runyon, Director of Communication. Hey, Jody.
Good evening, Dr. Burgess, President Krebs, and school board members. That's such great news, and what a way to increase the workforce, and just ditto to all the positive comments around that. So let's talk about a few more positive things happening in the Marysville School District. As you can see, there are 6 recognitions at the top of this page happening this month. We've already heard about a couple of those, but please take a look at that. And we reach out and we recognize our community for its diversity and everything that we celebrate within it. I do want to point out a few items on this list. The first one is tomorrow night is the high school and beyond night. This is much more than just a high school and beyond night. This is an actual
college and career fair for students in grades 9 through 12. And I also wrote on my notes, it's great for eighth graders too, just to get an idea of what it looks like as they prepare for high school. Excuse me, I'm a little froggy tonight. Oh, and I wanted to do a PSA. One of our cameras is not working. So for folks who are on Zoom, you currently cannot see the board of Dr. Burgess when they're talking, but Carlos will flip the camera. So we're working just with one camera tonight. So please be patient and we will work on fixing those problems in the future. I think we've had a problem with it the last couple of meetings. So just making everyone aware of that. I would like to also point out that Monday, October 14th is Indigenous Peoples Day, and that is a day of recognition, and there's no school on that day. I'm not going to read every single item here. That's why I do provide this list to everyone. Thursday, October 17th, the Tribes is planning a prevention and wellness event, and that's in partnership with the Marysville Tulalip Community Coalition called Uniting Stories. So we hope that you can stop by and check that out as well. Fall conferences are coming up October 28th through November 1. And I do want to point out there's no evening conferences on October 31st. So the schools will be notifying families when they'll be holding their evening conferences. Typically we have them on Wednesday and Thursday evenings. So this year there will not be fall conferences on Thursday the 31st. Make a have that date right.
Tuesday one.
Right, they're Tuesday, Wednesday this year, but there won't be any on Thursday evening this year. Yeah, lots going on. So please check out some of these events. Our schools would love to have you there, and so would our community partners. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, next up, we're going to get into the hearing of the business of visitors. Got the list in front of me. I'll go through a couple of the key informational that we speak to before every public hearing. So when you get up to the podium, could you just state what your relationship with the district is, whether you're a community member or staff member or a student in the school. And everybody gets 3 minutes. Unless you combine time, notice the clock behind me to my left. It'll turn yellow when you've got about 30 seconds, and then it'll flash red when your time's done. When it starts flashing, if you've got about 15, 20 seconds, if you could wrap your statement up with, please do so. But not much more than that. We want to respect the people behind us. I'm going to call the people up in the order that they signed up with. Nancy Harvey is the first on my list. She arrived an hour early to get her name on this list first.
I did. Nancy Harvey, second generation of 4 generations of Marysville High School graduates. I'm a community member and a volunteer. Tonight I want to talk to you about communication. I've started my volunteer math tutoring at Totem. My schedule of 36 students is nearly full. I met new students over the last 2 weeks. One student in particular has prompted me to talk to you about communication. We had just sat down at the table in the library. I had asked, "What grade are you in? Who is your math teacher?" Before we could begin the math, he asked, "Where are you going next year? I heard Totem's closing." He went on. "Everyone from Totem will go together to MMS or Cedar Crest, won't they?" The lack of effective communication about school closures is getting in the way of learning. I had to spend a couple of minutes talking about possible school closures before I could do math with that young man. Communication isn't just talking. It isn't grabbing a bullhorn and shouting, nor is it putting information on a website. It starts with listening. listening to the members of the Marysville Tulalip community. The major step that has been skipped to this point is listening. Ray Sheldon might be surprised that I now agree with him that sports are important. That's a story for another day. Asking the community for help might get someone working on Save Our Sport. Perhaps they would do a dinner and an auction, something that raises more money than a spaghetti feed or a breakfast. Maybe someone has a great idea to save our school. Even Seattle, when the plan was to close 20 or more schools, is now down to closing only 5. I implored the district administration to start listening to the good people of our community. When you give us data about schools, please make the data complete. Compare all elementary schools with the cost of repairs needed in 1 year and in 5 years. And do the same for middle schools. Our students should be able to focus on learning and not be distracted by thoughts of what if my school closes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next on my list, I have Sandy Phipps. Hello, Sandy.
Sandy Phipps, retired school district employee, former vice president of the Marysville School District Foundation, and community member. I'm very happy that Dr. Jarvis has come to Marysville to help us navigate through these very trying times. It's especially appreciated that he has an open door policy and everyone can speak freely to him without fear of retaliation. His years of service in various districts and wealth of knowledgeable experience gives us hope that we can work together to turn this district around and make it one we can be proud of. I would also like to welcome Dr. Bridges as the interim superintendent. His vast knowledge combined with years of experience are a welcome change. These two highly regarded people working for the district, it gives us renewed hope that we can weather the storm and build a stronger district and positive learning environment for students and staff. I can't do this. Thank you.
All right. Time, if you don't mind, I can just read it. Sandy, is that okay?
Yes, please.
Okay. With the new changes in administration, I hope that we can open the lines of communication and address concerns we have regarding the proposed closure of Totem Middle School. Several community members and staff, including myself, feel that there are better choices that would have less impact on students. We need to address the needs and well-being of the students first. I would welcome the opportunity to be granted a seat at the table to further discuss this. The other thing that I would like to address is the need for better communication. It's very frustrating to everyone when trying to figure out who is in charge of what program or what department when you need to contact someone. The organizational chart is outdated and has been for months. Even going to the individual departments is not a viable option as that information is not updated regularly as well. Truly make this work, we need to open the lines of communication and respond to emails, phone calls, and text messages. The community has come together and are anxious to start the rebuilding process, but communication is imperative to restore trust and support moving forward. Thank you for your time and consideration. Thank you, Sandy. Next up, Travis Stockstill. Hello, Travis. Hello.
I have my note. So my name is Travis Stockstill, administrative lead at Marshall Elementary Co-op, also live on Creek. And what I want to talk to you or bring to the attention is we have 4 portable buildings at Marshall Elementary that do not have access to potable water. So students have to, when they want to get water, have to walk across an open campus to find a drinking fountain, which is not in compliance with Washington state law. The water that is being provided is being paid for by parents and teachers. I brought this up a year ago. That's it. I just wanted to bring that to the attention. Being here tonight, it feels a lot lighter, a lot better, and a lot more energy than previous times I've been here. So I look forward personally to coming to more meetings.
Thank you very much. One of those, Sparkle, have you heard of that company? Something like that. This work under Washington law. I don't know. And potable water. How do you do drinkable water? Next up on my list, I have Chris Davis. Hello, Chris.
Chris Davis, community member, parent. Most of what was already touched on. So I'm going to focus on things that happens. Legislative session starts in January. We need volunteers, so the rest will come next year. In conjunction with that, communication from the school district. I went on a little adventure today. I had a parent reach out to me asking about volunteer opportunities in the district. And it was like, well, the typical answer is sign up, volunteer, make sure, ask teacher if they need help, to stakeholders, yada, yada. The problem is that we have a whole mess of parents interested in volunteering in the schools. And, I came from the co-op. So it's like, you have your assigned day, and a lot of people assume that there's going to be this structured activity, not just I'm off on a Tuesday, 11 and 1. So having something on the website that outlines different things, providing training opportunities, like you could probably train 100 parents right now on how to be a parent. If you don't say, come be a parent, it's like, no, help out in your schools, help out your children, build the needs of the district. And we'll pay you if you do all these checks. So there's lots of opportunities, but again, that communication issue. It's, just putting all the information on the website. That's great if you know how to search a website. You have access to a phone, have reliable internet. The fact of the matter is a lot of our families don't have reliable computers. They don't have reliable internet. A lot of these kids are doing homework on their devices at school or not at all because of the realities of life in this day and age. So to get this momentum that we already have, didn't work, by the way, keep it going and use it for good in Olympia and to pass levies and bonds and keep our sports, we need to communicate with these families of how they can help, what is needed, and how. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up on my list, I have Alan Strout. Oh, gotcha. Thanks for being here, Alan. That's going to conclude our public hearing. Next up, I have the approval of the minutes. I have a motion.
To approve the work study, regular session, executive session, minutes of or as presented.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. We move on to the consent agenda. I have a motion on the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion? You can read off the gifts to the district unless someone else wants to take it over. I don't mind. All right. So this is one of my favorite parts of the meeting because we get to really think. We get to thank the community for giving, especially during a time of need. So I'll go ahead and read these off. Contributors, we have the Green and Gold Booster Club. We have a gift to MGHS football C team. It's a monetary gift of $8,500, and the purpose is to encourage participation and involvement of MGHS football C team. We have Green and Gold Booster Club for MGHS volleyball C team. This is a monetary gift of $3,300 to encourage participation and involvement. We have Leah's Dream Foundation gave to MPHS Developmental Learning Program monetary value of $1,564.36 to provide a unique learning system subscription. And again, Leah's Dream Foundation gave to Allen Creek Elementary 18-21 program and MGHS materials in the amount of $1,069.56. And these are materials and supplies for special education classroom. And then last we have Carrie Albro gave to MPHS a monetary value of $140 to support the MPHS Japanese Club. So totaling $14,573.92. We really appreciate those that have given, and there's so many more people that should be on this list who have given time and their own resources, and we're eternally grateful for that right now. All right, any other discussion?
I don't have a question. That's the director, and I'm just trying to payroll. I'm curious if September payroll reflects some of the adjustments we have made to our budget. If we're expecting October to look similar or a little bit different with the hiring. What you're expecting there.
So September payroll did include some of the changes that we made during the last few budgetary cycles, and did not include all of them. I expected some lag in some of the actions to be taken, so we're waiting for our procedure to take those actions, and it includes the hiring that we have as well. So it's a mix of plus and minus. It does include many of the things that we discussed just last month.
Well, I had some questions on the AP vouchers and just some of the expenditures on there, but I didn't print out my notes and I don't have that in front of me with all the numbers. There was one full projects for like 213,000. Just curious about that one.
Might I suggest to help facilitate that, if you could get that to me via email, I will follow up and give you feedback. Okay, wonderful.
Anything else? All righty, all those in favor? Motion passes. All right, next up we have board actions. Board action number 1, this is Harris Metrics, sole source provider. This is going to be presented by Melissa Van Zandt, Director of Curriculum and Assessment, as well as Sandra Maxwell, Student Services. Cut off of this as student service, ...
That's good. Thank you. So
Charismatics is a sole source provider for a program that we would like to start using this year. And I'm going to tell you about the monetary part, and Sanders is going to tell you about the nitty gritty part. So what it is a program that measures and monitors and manages students' resiliency and their behavioral health. And that ties into something that Sandra will share with you in a second. They provide a unique scientifically based program that helps students who need additional support. So it's kind of a survey that we can implement with students in grades 3 through 12. And then if the program also includes if the students show that they need extra support, it has programs built into it that we can use. And the cost of the program is $27,030. And we have that written into the Title IV grant, so we could pay for that with grant funds if it's approved. And they'll let Sandra tell you
So kind of the specifics is it aligns with the RCW. That's really important, and it's actually something that OSPI is wanting us to kind of model after. And it's in accordance with the RCW, and it's really that all districts need to plan to recognize and screen and respond to emotional and behavioral concerns of students. And this is really a nice alignment with not only our district strategic goals, but also OSPI. This is really going to help us narrow down some of those tier 3, tier 2 students and really target good interventions for those students. So we're capturing, instead of kind of just making a guess, we're actually looking at data and being able to group students based on what their needs are. And to me, this is really important for our district and our students.
Thank you very much. Have a motion?
I move to approve the purchase of the Paris metrics as the sole source provider for the resiliency system.
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion?
I think my first question is, we're kind of feeling our way around with a special administrator and, where it applies to all that. So has this been approved by our special administrator, and do we, if it's funded through grant funding?
Technically, that would not be one of the special administrators' functions because it's categorically funded. But I have some questions. So, and I apologize because in normal, I would have had these in front of you before this meeting, but I'm wondering about the redundancy of data entry. Do we have any of this information that's also required to be put into any other documentation so that, and does this program communicate with Skyward?
This program communicates with MIDAS, which we actually can use to communicate with Skyward. So it doesn't speak directly to it, it speaks directly to MIDAS. And then we can pull out from that what we need to do the report for the civil rights report. My department does that reports.
Thank you.
Kind of along the same lines as Director Michael. And you said that we have it as a line item in our grant, the grant funded, but it hasn't been approved to be funded by that grant just yet. Is that correct?
The grant is in the process of, it's gone through all the things it needs to go through at our level. So we're waiting for OSPI. So we wouldn't be able to.
Okay, and they approve the grant as a whole. They don't approve specific line items, right?
Right, exactly. So, for example, my responsibility is Title II and Title IV. And so both of those sections of the grants have been completed. And then Title I, II, III, and IV are all put together in what they call an ESEA grant. And that entire grant is approved all at one time by OSPI. And what they do is they look to make sure that we are all working together, so we're not doing everything in isolation.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. All right, thank you very much. Next up, number 2, Midas Education sole source provider. I guess it's still there. Presented by Melissa Van Zandt, Director of Curriculum and Systems.
Okay, so for Midas, Midas is the sole source provider for the dashboard that we've been using the last couple of years. And we were using it just for assessment data and demographic data. And then this past year, we added the behavior piece. So we're able to track student behaviors, and it has come in quite handy. Our school, thank you, Director Michael, for your question that you sent. So I was able to do a little research, and she had a great question. She asked for an example of something that Midas could do. And I looked up her question was an example of how many bullying incidents. And Midas tracks data. It updates every single night. It syncs with Skyward. And every night, so as of last Friday, would have been the most current because I looked at it today. And we had 29 bullying incidences reported district-wide as of last Friday. And I was looking to see where the most frequent location of the bullying was. And my guess would have been the playground or some other place where you don't have as much supervision. And I was wrong. It was actually 12 incidences across our district were in the classroom. And then the second place were the playground, which was 5. And then the lunchroom was the next after that. And then it trickles down to one location and the others. And then it does break down. You can look at that by your school. You can also look at the time of day when these happen. And if the board would like, I can come back at a workshop time and actually show you exactly what it looks like. And I can maneuver through to show you the dashboard in action. But what happens is our schools actually look at the data, and on the average, it's weekly. I've called 4 different principals, and all 4 of the ones I called said they look at it weekly with the leadership team. And they look at where different incidences are happening, but and they track typically what time of the day they're happening and where they need to put more supervision. So for example, one of the middle school principals told me that they figured out that there's a certain hallway that didn't have as many teachers monitoring, and now they've moved where the teachers are, and lo and behold, the behaviors have improved in that area. So they use it for that reason. But in addition to that, they also look at the data as well as how children are doing. They progress monitor academics, and they look at that and they talk among themselves as teachers on how they can improve and increase what they're doing in the classroom, what's working, what's not working, and they monitor and adjust their instruction based on that. So it's become quite an effective tool. It took us a couple of years to really get it up and running and going well, but right now it's like a well-oiled machine.
You have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I appreciate the examples, and I think what I was trying to kind of suss out is it a tool that people are using? Is it a tool that they like? Once they, I mean, it's great to have the data, but then how do you use the data to improve the conditions in the building? And so I think you provided some really interesting examples, right? So at middle school, okay, we're having, incidents in this hallway, so we can target where that goes. And I personally would be really interested in a work study just to look at more in depth how the tools being used. Absolutely. I do have folks are looking at it, elementary, middle school, high school. We talked about a school climate and student behavior type task force. And I would think information like this would be really helpful for us to understand, what's going on,
at whether they're elementary kids or middle school kids, are the best for kids to reduce the number that we're seeing. Right. Exactly. So thanks for the information.
Yeah, I appreciate that example as well. And I think that it's really important for us to, as a district, use these data dashboards and take the opportunity to look at providing different tiers of support for our students that need that. And so I just appreciate that we're taking the time to build out a system and maintain it. And I also would be interested in hearing a little bit more, but just ensuring that our teachers and and all of our staff are able to take this data and use it. So that's.
I got the chance to see Midas and work a year and a half ago, and I'm glad to hear that it's working well. And like you said, it seems like it's a well-oiled machine. I know Director Michael and you alluded to kind of the back end of the data, right? So what do we do with this data when we have it? And I guess I'm concerned about that, but I'm also concerned about the data is only as good as the information that gets put in, right? And so I would imagine at $40,000, hopefully, we're training our teachers and our staff to utilize it appropriately, because ideally, and I don't like that I have to say this, but that 29 number that you mentioned, realistically, is higher, right, for the bullying incidents, because there's always those that have not been recorded on the system. But the more that we can engage our staff to report those incidents, then kind of the more accurate number, accurate data we'll have, and we can more kind of effectively and efficiently attack the problem. And so, has there been like a training for staff members to use this program, or has it kind of been a pilot for the last year, just plugging data in for now?
There's been different levels of training. There's been administrators have gotten more training. And then we have counselor and psychologist training coming up, because slowly we've been rolling out different levels. And then we've done a teacher training, but it's only been for a few teachers, the few that showed up for the Loon Days. So we need to actually do more training, but the rollout has come slowly. And one of the reasons is very much like what you just said. The data is only as good as what you put into it. And one of the things we uncovered right from the start is we had quite a bit of data in our Skyward system that wasn't accurate. And so when we were pulling our demographic data, we noticed there were many, many errors. And once we started uncovering that, I gained the responsibility of overseeing the office staff across the district, so that I could train them on how to input data correctly. And that's really become a positive thing, because now they have a person that they can go to here at the district office that is consistently training them and updating them. And we've started to already have much cleaner data going in more consistently. So it's much more reliable data now than it was.
Can I just add, there's the amazing training that Melissa's been doing, but the accountability around the leadership with that. So when we are building our school improvement plans, we have our math goal, our reading goal, our social emotional goal, we are using both of these platforms that these ladies have presented tonight. So in doing that, they're also using it with their PBIS teams, which is staff, their leadership teams, which is staff. So there's been some training, but there's also the accountability piece that both Bonnie and I are working with the leadership in each building on, and they're working with their staff as well.
Thank you very much. Anything else?
That's your question, actually. I'll put another question, which really just means come back for work study. That would be great. So on data insight, are confirmed incidents, what's input, or is it allegations as an incident? If that makes sense. Is it
The principal says, yes, if a incident happened with these two kids, or is it kiddo coming in saying, at recess, this thing happened that you're like,
So what happens is, it could be someone witnessed it or someone reported it, and then that comes in as a concern. And then it rises to the level of an investigation. And that's when the principal gets involved. And then they go and they interview and inquire about what really happened. And then it can change. So it may have, you have 29 that stayed at the level of bullying. But prior to that, I mean, it could have been 40. And after they did the investigation, it became somebody called it that, but maybe it was something different. But 29 have stood, that after being investigated, they've stood as legitimate cases of bullying.
Thank you for the feedback. And then my last question, so I feel like I need to check the box. So this contract, I would like to require specific category funding, not necessarily, wasn't necessarily to be approved by the special administrator, even though that.
Right. Categorical funding does not require his approval.
Okay, thank you.
I guess one other question I would have is, if we're looking at, using this data to look at, like opposite, somebody who's really kind.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot to mention it. This year is the first year that we've added the positives. So we started with catching students misbehaving just because that's what we needed, something to track that. And this is the first year that we started tracking positives. So we actually do have, I want to say, I'm guessing 26, 27 different positive situations that you can catch children doing, and then we're going to start tracking those on our dashboards as well.
Maybe some incentive behind getting a positive remark.
I'm not the principal, but if it were my school and I were the principal, we would be doing some sort of celebration.
Some of those are good, I think, for children.
I agree. For me too.
And adults, yeah, you're right. Anything else from the board or members? All those in favor? All right, motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, next up, we have the Carl Perkins Grant Assurances, which is going to be presented by Ryan Beatty, Director of Career and College Readiness. Hello again.
Hi. And we are seeking acknowledgement and approval from the school board and superintendent that we will accept Carl Perkins funds and abide by the assurances that are federal, state, and the Washington County manual for those funds.
All right, do I have a motion?
All right. Marysville School District will accept the allocated funds by signing the assurance page and abiding by all federal, state, and agency rules and regulations required of this.
So this is a we do need action, or it confuses me when it says situation report. It makes me think that it's just have an update. Yeah. All right, we have a motion.
Second.
All right. We need discussion from the board.
Do these grants, do they ever require like matching funds or anything like that?
No, this is an annual grant. And no.
Yeah, I know off the top of your head how much we received and what we're anticipating for this year.
We don't know what we're anticipating. We got about 113 last year and 79,000 the year before. And so I think the allocation is between $1 and 600,000. That's the rate, and it's due in December, and so we're in the process, right?
So we're voting to accept grant funds.
Accept grant funds and basically the assurance that
we will abide, the district will abide by how those funds get used, not how it comes. Yeah.
And Carl Perkins grants have been around, almost since I was a child. So, yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
One.
Carl Perkins, and that's what CT revolves around, is Carl Perkins and that. Well.
All right. Any other discussion from the board or Burgess? All right, all those in favor?
I,
Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have a memorandum of understanding, Marysville School District and Pacific Lutheran University Automatic Admission Partnership, presented by Bonnie Walker, Executive Director of Secondary School.
Thank you, Director Krebs, Dr. Burgess, and the board. And I have an exciting opportunity. I got a chance to speak with some people from Pacific Lutheran University, and they have an opportunity. So one of the programs we already are joined in is the WGAP, the Washington Guaranteed Admissions Program. And so this is a very similar program, but because PLU is a private university, they do it a little bit differently, but it's instigated or perpetuated by the same background that put that other piece together. So what I kind of outlined on here for you in the background report is just some slight differences on how it works, but everything else is really very similar. So high school students can qualify for guaranteed admittance and a scholarship from PLU. It's similar, like I said, to the WGAP, and they can have access here each year. So here are the differences. So the automatic admission partnership does not require a common app. So in other words, if a student can skip that process, they don't have to write an essay. Basically, if they meet these criteria in high school, they can get in. The GPA requirement is a little different. So for the WGAP, it's 3.0. For this, it is 3.3. And the reason why they have that as a 3.3 is because that automatically qualifies them for that merit scholarship of $23,000. As a private university, that can offset those differences in the cost of a private versus a public university. So this way, when they're there, they're going to be able to access things. They also align it with the FAFSA and make sure that they can get all of those necessary supports to be able to go to PLU. That's their choice. The last difference is that, again, as a private university, they don't check the college academic distribution requirements. Those are for public colleges, but they do expect students to have passed or be enrolled in Algebra 2. So those are some of the differences. But beyond that, students will be able to get information. We have a designee that is ready to jump on board and be that communication tool between the college and the high school, making sure students know and have access to this program if you're interested. The main thing is that if the data share, right, so we would send them information about students who qualify so that then those students can be identified for supports. So I'm asking that you would approve the MOU between PLU and the Marysville School District, providing Marysville students access to the automatic admission partnership.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You have a motion.
I move to approve the MOU between PLU and the Marysville School District, providing Marysville students access to the automatic admissions partnership.
Okay.
Motion and a second. Do I have any discussion?
First of all, I think it's great to have this partnership with PLU, and it's another opportunity to open doors for students that maybe they wouldn't have thought about otherwise. And really appreciate that there's a simplified process, because I know sometimes those applications can be daunting and discourage kids from applying. I think my question really is around the data share and what information we give to PLU and how it comes back to kids. Assuming that it is probably like all the other colleges out there, it comes into their student email.
Correct. Yeah, and the information they'll get is things around their transcripts, how they're progressing through school, and any communications would come through their school.
Okay, so they might get, okay, but check
we've got this group of 100 seniors or 100 juniors that look like they're on track for 3.3 or higher. And then they would receive, in essence, kind of a marketing email from PLU.
They would, PLU did say when I talked to, one of the program coordinators, and in addition, they work really closely with the schools so that they can even come out, like get all of those that are eligible together so that they can have some live information sessions. So they'll really, and flyers, they've got a lot of other tools that they could get out beyond just an email.
And they can't use the student information any other way. So it's only to send information about PLU enrollment. They can't take that.
Correct.
Okay. That's, I do think it's a good opportunity for kids. It's just launched.
Well, like Director Michael said, any opportunity that we can afford to our children is a great opportunity, and it seems like we've approved a few opportunities tonight for students, and so that's exciting. Yeah, I really don't have any further questions. I feel like we just went through this, but for the gap. So, yeah, I appreciate it. No further discussion. All right, all those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to follow-up items, work study day, board meeting date, and upcoming events. October 21st, 2024, we have a work study and a regular session meeting. Also, in about 2 weeks, haven't boiled down the date yet, the exact date, but we'll be hosting interviews for our vacant board spot candidates. Yeah, 3 candidates that will be interviewing, so stay tuned for that date, about 2 weeks. Other than that, superintendent comments. Any last words?
It's a scary thing to say. My age, are you serious? No, I don't.
Move on to board comments. Sorry.
Sure. I want to just say, hearing a common theme from our speakers tonight, our public comment about communication on closures, and I really appreciate Chris's comments about helping, I guess, like build capacity of volunteers. I think that's a great opportunity. I think we should look at on developing that, because there may be people who want to volunteer or be a part of something, but maybe they just don't understand how to do that. And I think we need to help them do that. So thanks for those comments. And looking at this opportunity with CTE and then our college-bound students, I just really want to say I'm hopeful to continue building out those opportunities. There's so many opportunities with CTE. I still am looking forward to seeing our agriculture CTE come back. We took some good steps for that. So just thanks for that good work, and let's figure out ways that we can help, build up volunteers. Thank you.
So I would echo your comments, Dr. Davis. I think there is a lot of energy out of the community right now. We can harness those ready to volunteer in our schools. I appreciate that there was mention made that the legislative session is coming up sooner rather than later, and we certainly know what those means. I look forward to working with you on the next couple of weeks, and Jody to kind of put together our legislative priorities as we get ready to launch into legislative session and all of those good things. I really appreciated the evening. It's that we had the opportunity to look at new opportunities for kids and opening doors for kids, whether they're academy or the so that's really encouraging. And welcome to Dr. Burgess. A little bit, I'm sure, like drinking from a fire hose. And I would ask for, I absolutely heard from the community regarding communication, especially with respect to school closures. I know it's a big deal. Causes a lot of anxiety among students, families, staff. And with it, that's for just a moment of patience while we get folks on board. And we'll be back at those conversations. So.
I love that point, and I just want to say that there's not going to be a decision made and then presented to the community. That is absolutely not the way that I want to function as the district leader. And I want a lot of our stakeholders' fingerprints on this, an opportunity to have your voice heard. Not necessarily that everything could possibly go any one person's way, but we absolutely have a need to engage you, and I will promise that that will happen. That will slow this process down, but we're not going to do something so significant in an autocratic way. That's not the way we're going to operate.
Thank you for that. Nothing else.
Well, it's tough to follow these three. I will touch on what Chris said about volunteers. I think there are tons of volunteers who have come up to me who have said that they wanted to serve, and where do they go to look, and where do they go to serve. And I think, Chris, I agree with you that that I think our district site should be more robust, but I strongly feel like that should take place at the school level. I think that I think the process could be smoother. I think the tasks assigned would be more appropriate based off of the school. I think most people who volunteer would volunteer in the school that's in their local kind of school community anyways. And I think if they had the opportunity to go to that school and ask to volunteer, I think that school should have the authority to kind of implement their own volunteer program. So I'm just tossing that nugget out there for somebody to grab, but I think if you do that at the district level, I can think of 1,000 different ways where there could be some confusion in that, and some and it could just be real clunky because you're dealing with some different schools all at the same time. But now more than ever, we as a district, I don't think that we can turn down help. I think that we have to open up every opportunity for community members who want to help to be able to help in a way that benefits the community and the district as a whole, and then of course the children. So yeah, again, thank you everybody who stayed with us tonight at the end of the meeting. Again, in a couple weeks, we will be giving interviews for our vacant board seat. Much like last time, it'll be performed the same way. I think we got some feedback from last time that some community members would like to extend the survey, the community survey, online survey out a day or two. And So we'll do that this go around. Hopefully this is the last go around. So we received that input and I think it's really valuable input. So we'll make sure that we make that happen. Other than that, thank you everybody, and I think we're gonna adjourn the meeting. It's 7:29. I almost picked it up, but I won't. Okay, I'll filibuster for 8 seconds. But we don't have to change it. I'm just kidding. We'll adjourn.
Settings.
Now it's 7:30 on October 7th.
Recording stopped.
I forgot to go out to that's when you're on.
It was like 20 something. 27, yeah. Oh, you did? Okay, gotcha.
Who does a master job of